You're listening to a Rock Candy podcast.
Hey, I'm Joe, and I'm a composer and a musician.
That's why we call you the maestro. And I'm Will. I'm a literal doctor.
But don't trust this guy with your ailments.
No, I study comic books, but it still counts.
We're a couple of creative kids who host a podcast called Common Creatives.
We dig deep into filmmakers, musicians, books, and characters, really all types of artistic works and the people who make them.
We break apart the art we love to see what makes it tick.
Basically, we give you the definitive take on whatever or whoever we're discussing. All opinions are definitive and final.
So check out Common Creatives wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to the Eleventylife podcast.
What's up, Eleventy family? Matt here. So happy to have you with us this week for another episode of Eleventylife. I hope that your holidays are off to an incredible start, and if they're not, I hope they get a lot better. You all have made 2020 an amazing year for Rock Candy Recordings. We have been able to onboard several new podcasts throughout the year. We had 4 official releases come out as Eleventyseven this year, and you guys have all streamed the shit out of those on Spotify. Thank you so much. We are just the people here in the studio making content. You are all the people that make this community an amazing thing that other people want to be a part of. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And I need to give a shout out to our newest addition to the Rock Candy family, the guys in Magnified Pod. I was a guest on their podcast a few months back. We had an amazing time, and I think they do some really insanely cool work diving into the subcultures of bands and different musical genres. They are an absolute blast to hang out with, and I'm so happy to have them on the new network. They're really big MXPX and Five Iron Frenzy fans, so if that resonates with you, you want to go be friends with them as soon as possible because you're not living your best life until you do. On this week's episode, we are doing another Conversations with Fans episode. For those of you who don't know, at the top of 2020, we funded our brand new full-length album, Basic Glitches, and one of the incentives that helped us to reach our goals was that we invited fans to come be a part of the Eleventylife podcast, and that has turned into several episodes of just really fun, candid conversations with Eleventy fans, where I get to sit down, get to know them a little better, they get to know me a little bit better. We get to explore the existence of possible extraterrestrial life in our universe and the more likely place in the back of my refrigerator. This week, I got to sit down with none other than Ethan Ulrich, and it was an absolute pleasure to get to know him and get a little bit of a glimpse into what his everyday life has looked like during the 2020 quarantine. It was a great conversation. I can't wait for you to hear it. Before we get started, huge hugs and high fives to everybody over at the Eleventylife Facebook group. You guys are amazing, and you are rocking the hell out of those new Betamosh t-shirts. They look gorgeous on all of you. Thank you so much for supporting us by purchasing things like that. You have no idea what kind of difference it makes and how warm and fuzzy it makes our hearts feel. For more shows like this one, make sure that you head over to rockcandyrecordings.com and find out who more of our creators are and some other shows that we help release and produce right here at the Rock Candy Recordings production studio in Asheville, North Carolina. Big love to all of our fellow creators, bandmates, songwriters, artists, and illustrators. Do us a favor and don't stop putting your weirdness out into the world. We're going to share a little bit of ours with you now. Buckle up for my conversation with Eleventyfan Ethan Ulrich.
Hello?
Hey, man.
Hold on. I'm going to get my lamp.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. There we go. I didn't know if we were doing webcams or not, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'm glad we got it worked out. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
Coming through loud and clear. Yeah. So what have you been up to today?
Honestly, ever since quarantine hit, I've been actually like working a lot because I run my own business from home. So like I'm a freelance editor for people.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
I've had work like nonstop. Yeah. But it's been a lot recently.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What kind of stuff do you edit?
It's a lot of like YouTuber and streamer content mostly, because the YouTubers really aren't affected by this because they get paid through YouTube. So it's like those are like the one people that aren't getting affected.
Right, of course.
So
yeah, well, that's cool. So you're staying busy while everybody else is like out of a job.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the kind of person that like I like to keep busy, anyways. So I mean, it works out for me, but at the same time, it's been tough.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. Yeah. We've kind of been wondering how this is all going to play out, because now, I mean, like, we obviously can't have a bunch of people over to the studio at one time. So we're like kind of just putting our heads down and doing some remote mix work and like trying to finish up some Eleventy B-side stuff in the meantime. So that's been about what we're doing. My wife put me to work remodeling our bathroom upstairs, so that's what I've been doing today.
That's nice.
Yeah. It's been pretty good. Like, as crazy as the world is and as like weird and dark as it feels like right now, I can still like walk out my door and like the neighborhood is still there. Like, kids are still running around. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel as apocalyptic whenever you have a nice outside to go to.
Everybody has something to say about it. It's now the new conversation opener where it's like, hey, once this is over, what are we going to open up conversations with? It's like I can't go anywhere without somebody mentioning it. I'm like, bruh, come on, really?
Yeah.
Like, we already know.
Yeah.
I get it, but
exactly. Like, everybody has the same information that everybody else has. Like,
can we talk about something that isn't that for just like 5 minutes? You know?
Yeah. Like, well, I would love to do that with you. Find something else to talk about.
Quarantine the entire. No, it's fine.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Sweet. So I read in your notes that maybe you wanted to dive into this idea of like being passionate about something and sticking to that. And it had me wondering, like, what are those things for you? Do you have certain things that you are passionate about but have a hard time sticking with? Or tell me about that.
Well, it's for me, it's not like the sticking to it part that's the problem. It's the, is this all going to pay out in the future? Which is a good and bad mindset, because it's like, I think it's important to have an overarching goal or dream for your life in general, like no matter what it is. Otherwise, you're kind of just stagnant. Yeah. You know?
So what does that look like for you? Like, what is your overarching dream at this point?
I am very passionate about indie projects and like indie games. So I've had like a YouTube channel for years, but like the past year or two, I've kind of doubled down on like focusing on people's indie projects and like giving them like positive exposure and everything. Cause it's like, nobody's doing that, for one. And two, it's just like, I enjoy it. And then also we just need more positivity on the internet in general, I feel. So it's like, I want to be that, you know?
I love that. That sounds so pure on the outset. I don't know what kind of indie gaming that you're into, but a few years ago, I saw a documentary film, and it was centered around like the independent gaming industry, like kind of in its weird little startup phase. And it had somebody from Asheville that was the focal point of it. I think it was the guy who was creating Super Meat Boy. I don't know if you're familiar with that game or not, the side scroller. So is that like in the same vein as what you're talking about? Or are you not talking about platformers? Are you talking about like some other type of gaming?
I'm the kind of person that it's like, no, it's so funny. Actually, wow. I'm jumping to like two different things right here. I could jump here or jump here. Basically, it's like through my life, I've realized that I shouldn't stereotype either music or games or whatever, because like for the most part, like I don't like platformers that much, or at least that's what I said.
Okay.
Right. But I've discovered that there are a lot of cool platformers out there, and I don't like only focus on platformers, but more recently that's kind of been the thing, because it's like there are a lot of different unique ways to make a platformer, and I keep seeing that. And so I keep talking about those, even though I try to find something different every time. You know?
Right. So when you said indie gaming, what was popping into your head? Like, what are those things that you're super into right now? I
like story-driven stuff for sure. It helps with video content if there's a story, so you can kind of like relate it to like your own life. Because like the other thing is like when I make my videos, I want it to like actually have a point and not just talking about a game, but being like, okay, what can we actually learn from this, and what can we apply to like our actual lives?
Yeah.
You know, instead of just being like, oh, I'm playing a fun game. It's like, yeah, but it's like when you're not playing this game, like, what have you learned from it?
So you're like super into the narrative part of the game, like the storytelling aspect.
Yeah. I mean, I focus more on, I focus on like everything. Like I dive deep with like every single aspect of games or series or shows or whatever. Cause it's like, I feel like that's important to kind of dissect everything, because I'm the kind of person that always wants to know why. Like I'm the annoying person that will ask like why 5 times, because like I want to know the core thing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I do with my videos. It's like, why is this the case? You know?
I think that you and I might be similar in that way. I wonder, is this like something that you feel like developed over time, or do you feel like you know, like had a crucial moment, a turning point where you just like a flip switched and you were like, I just really need to know how and why things are the way they are, and to be able to internalize that?
I mean, I think over time I've kind of learned subconsciously to be more inquisitive, and like with my personal creativity, like over time, it has been like a gradual thing. Cause like I used to make videos about like the dumbest things that meant nothing. And then all of a sudden I made this video about Hive Swap that now has like 35,000 views or whatever. And it's like, that really put into perspective of like why. And I feel like that was kind of like the first video where I went very analytical and very introspective about it.
Yeah.
So, and then I didn't jump into it like right away, but it took me a while to realize, oh, I want to double down on that and like make videos analyzing like amazing things on the internet.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need more of that, and we don't see enough of that. So it's like, somebody's got to do it. Might as well be me, you know? So
I love that attitude, Ethan. That's pretty optimistic of you, for sure. So are you working on anything right now? Is there a game that you're super into right now that you're working on doing like a review for, or?
I mean, I'm always looking for stuff. I'm trying to work on right now. And I'm still in the research phase of playing the game, and I'm stuck. So whenever I get stuck in a game that I'm trying to review, it's like, okay, 3 options. A, forget about this and research something else. B, stay at this one spot forever trying to figure out myself.
Yeah.
Or B, look it up. And I can't bring myself to look it up because I feel like that's cheating. So it's like I kind of, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I've always tried to shuffle between like shows and games, and I guess I call them gems of the internet in a way. I have that series, and where that's basically like looking at people's creativity specifically.
Yeah.
But I've kind of separated the game reviews from that because I've always wanted to be more diverse with the game reviews. Although I have been doing a lot more of those because it's been a lot more fun recently. Because I can do a lot more stuff in like the editing and whatnot.
Yeah. Because
I've kind of built up this gems of the internet audience where it's like, I don't want to change that format too much, you know? So I haven't done one of those in a while because it's like, that's like my best series. So like when I find something like incredible, that's what that series is for, you know? It's like, oh, a gems of the internet on this, we know it's going to be good, you know?
Yeah.
But
for sure, man. Well, so I noticed that you've got a Stranger Things poster behind you in your room. This is your room, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool
if
you're
some
like
random guys, you know. I'm honestly, yeah.
This is my parents' room. They're like super into Destiny and
right. My grandma's room.
Oh my gosh, that would be even cooler. Then I'd have to meet your grandmother.
Forget me. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man. That's so much fun. That's so much fun. Is this a Spider-Man calendar behind you?
Yeah, this is from last year.
Oh my gosh.
It still says December on it.
But like, why? I mean, 2020 is like,
I know. It's just
such
like
a shit show.
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to get a calendar and then it's like, I forgot about it. And then that's still there. I don't know. It's more so for aesthetic right now, honestly.
No, I totally get it. I'm pretty sure we have a puppy calendar that we just keep putting around the house in different places because we don't want to throw it away.
Yeah, that's fair. I get that.
But yeah. Super cool, man. So when I called, were you working on editing stuff or?
No, I was kind of, it was weird because it's like, I didn't have a lot of time to do stuff. So I was kind of just sitting here. I got water. So, I mean.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So I'm taking from another poster in the background that you are a Doctor Who fan to at least some degree.
Yeah, I used to be a big Whovian, but in like the past couple of years, I haven't been watching the show, although like it is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
I just love the sci-fi-ness of it and the time traveling and all the characters.
Okay, so when I first discovered Doctor Who, Jessica and I just started blowing through all of the series, like all the iterations of it. I got kind of overwhelmed by it. Like it kind of turned into this like background noise for me where I was like, there was always Doctor Who on, but I wasn't like necessarily paying as much attention to it. And I think, and maybe you can relate to this, but like if I don't want to get into like tearing apart Doctor Who at all right now because people would slam me for that. I enjoy it. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it. But I feel like when I was binging it and consuming it, just consuming too much of it at one time, I felt like the rules would keep changing from show to show, almost like there wasn't quite a show Bible for it. If that makes sense, it's always the biggest thing. It's always the worst thing that could happen.
There's always something you don't know.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, so no pontification on that at all. You're just
no, I'm like, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, in a sense, it's like, it's kind of interesting because then it's like you're kind of relying on the Doctor to see what he does because like you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
In a way.
Yeah, for sure. I am getting super pumped about whatever is happening next with Stranger Things.
Dude, yeah, for real.
The whole world is waiting for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
True.
How did you get started with editing? And by the way, are you in Premiere or are you in Final Cut?
So okay. So this is an interesting story because it really depends on when you would have asked me. Because like for years, I edited exclusively in Hit Film Express. Nobody edits in Hit Film Express, but I did for years.
Just the name of it sounds little.
Listen, man, it was a free program that you can do a lot with.
Okay.
It's like the perfect starting thing because you can do a bit more complicated things with it. So I used that for years. And then my friend Jack was like, yo, you should use Premiere. And I'm like, but why? He's like, I don't know. Everything's just better. So for the past, like, since the middle of last year, I started using Premiere. And Premiere is worth it for sure. I've never used Final Cut, though.
That's cool, man. So you obviously have like a really great workflow in Premiere now.
For sure.
I'm a huge fan of people getting into those kind of like lowest common denominator programs, like what you're talking about. Because when we started out, I started programming on a cracked version of Fruity Loops, like that I found off of Morpheus or LimeWire or something. Back in the day. You're probably too young to remember any of that. You look too young to remember any of that.
How old do you think I am?
I don't know. Like maybe early 20s, right? Is that close?
I actually just turned 20.
You just turned 20. Yeah. There we go. There we go. That's it. That's cool, man. But yeah, like it's sometimes going from zero to like completely pro program for anything that you're doing, whether it's editing or doing music production or whatever, it can seem really, really overwhelming because there's so many options. There's like too much stuff staring at you in the face whenever you open those edit screens.
True.
We do most of our videos and stuff here on Final Cut. So
okay.
It is what it is. As long as it gets the job done, I guess that's true. That's the thing.
As long as the video looks good. I don't think it matters what you edit it in.
There you go.
Except, I mean, I will add a caveat. If you're a professional and still editing in Windows Movie Maker, just use Hit Film at that point. Like, it's also free and it's way better.
I mean, but so they're out there. Like, the internet is full of videos, people that are doing that. People
still edit in iMovie. But I think iMovie has a lot more capabilities than Movie Maker. So teach their own.
Yeah. This is quickly turning into a pretty nerdy editing conversation.
Listen, man, I've been editing for years. Like, this is my thing.
Okay, so
right?
when YouTubers send you video to edit, are they essentially just sending you like everything that they just had a stream of, and then you're just cutting out bits and like removing some stuff? Okay,
basically.
Cool. So do you have to watch the whole video oh wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It'd be tedious sometimes.
Okay, so I mean, I guess that makes sense because you were talking about being passionate and sticking to stuff, and you were like, I don't really have a problem sticking to things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really don't. If you can sit through that kind of stuff.
I'm very stubborn too, so
yeah, that's
if there's a deadline, staying up to get it done before the deadline.
Strong work ethic.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Honestly, too strong. Like to the point where it's like I need days off, and I've realized this recently more so than anything. But it's like I'll work every day, all day, and it's like, well, you can, but that doesn't mean you should. Sometimes it's good to just not work, you know?
Yes,
so,
leaving some room for mental health.
True.
Is a real thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that you will spend a lifetime finding that balance, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm going to turn this on its head. I've been asking more and more people this, more so like creatives, but like, what are your, how do you feel about sleep in general? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't have a super great relationship with it this week.
That's good. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But like only because if I don't know what it is, for some reason for the past week, I've just been having a bunch of nightmares.
Oh, wow.
And if I'm not having nightmares, then I can like hear somebody calling my name and it like wakes me up. And then when I wake up, there's like nothing there. So that's happened to me before. I can't think of anything like that might have been triggering that, or like I feel like as crazy as things are in the world, obviously with Corona, which we won't go into, I'm still like everything is still pretty chill. Like it's kind of, 7, 8 out of 10 most of the time. But yeah, I think my biggest thing is just figuring out, like reminding myself to let myself rest and to not be in front of a screen, because I'm constantly either editing stuff here in the studio or as soon as I'm done with that, I go upstairs and Jessica comes home and we'll watch something on Netflix together. And then before you know it, it's like, oh, my whole day was just spent like either consuming or creating instead of just being. And a lot of times like the best stuff comes from just being and experiencing life, or letting life experience you might be a better way of putting it. So
I just feel like with creatives specifically, I feel like their relationship with sleep is always a tale, right? It's always like sleep. Oh, right. That's a thing. It's like for me specifically, I hate sleep. I'm the kind of person that wants to be doing stuff all the time. Yeah. And sleep means I can't do stuff, right? So if there's one area in my life that I've been procrastinating, mostly recently, it's been sleep. And it's bad. And it's just like, it's so hard to fix. Every single time I ruin my sleep schedule, so hard to fix. It's like, I just want to do stuff. I don't want to sleep and do nothing,
Yes. Well, as somebody who's a decade older than you, at least, I can promise you that the older that you get, the more you just sleep has a little bit more of a hold on you. Like it doesn't feel as hard to come by. Like nowadays, I mean, I feel like I spent so much of my life staying up late, playing shows, like Waffle House at 2 a.m. was like an almost nightly occurrence. And the older that I've gotten now, like around 10 o'clock, I can feel myself like waning. And I know like my body's like letting me know, hey, you need to start chilling out.
I wish I had that. I had to force myself to sleep. That's how bad it is. You'll get
it. So when do you feel like you do your best work? Do you feel like you do it when you wake up in the morning, or when you're depriving yourself of? I
don't know. I feel like I have this, I don't know, because it's so weird, because like my dad is a night owl and my mom is like a super early morning person. So I'm this weird hybrid where I can do both somehow. I don't know how, but I just can. And it's crazy. So I don't know, because it feels like I can be honestly, I could be productive whenever, but afternoons is like my low point. That's what I will say. That's what I have noticed for sure.
Do you have a way of like coming out of that? Like, do you hit up coffee
eating.
Eating.
Eating, like coffee. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's the thing I forget to do. Like I'll look around, and it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll realize that, oh my gosh, I've just been running off coffee the entire day. Like, yeah. And Davey and I were talking about this a little bit ago too, where, because I think that I may have ADD. And I've had a couple of people or therapists like tell me that I might need to get tested for it, or encouraged me strongly to get tested for it. And so I keep trying to do all these different things in my life to try to take care of it on my own without medication. Just to make sure that it's not something that I'm just letting the ball roll down the hill and it'll be too big by the time I get to it, you know? And at this point, I don't know, because I feel so manic normally by the time it gets to be afternoon. And it's because I have just been drinking so much coffee to stay focused.
That is why you need to set a coffee limit. That is very important, right?
Okay, Mom.
No, I'm serious, dude. That's what I've had to do. Like 2 cups max per day. That's it. I can't. So, I mean,
mugs?
How much?
Mugs or cups? Okay, mugs.
Yeah. But it's like, honestly, water. Just drink more water instead of coffee all day, you know?
Okay. You look like you're drinking coffee right now.
No, this is water, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 2. No, it's because I normally get like the big glasses of water, but they were all dirty. So I was like, well, yes, I'm using this one
right
for water. But I feel like drinking more water in general just helps.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's going to that point, I mean, yeah, coffee consumption, or caffeine in general, you should definitely monitor, because that will affect you.
Yes.
So it's like, I'm not trying to be a mom. I actually care about you. So like, I want to.
You're so sweet.
If I can. Yeah.
No, it's great. I'm not awesome at the whole self-care thing, so I very much appreciate that. I take it all in stride and with gratitude. Fair. So tell me about these. Tell me about the bands that you're into right now, because we've talked about shows and like content, but we haven't really talked about music, which is kind of our thing. Yeah, for everybody at home, he's got on an Eleventyseven Rad Science hoodie.
I will answer that question in a second. But I've gotten so much flack for this being my favorite hoodie. Whenever I hang out with friends, they're like, "Oh, you're wearing that hoodie again?" This is literally my favorite hoodie. I've had this since like 2017. Like, it's comfy and I love it. But I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot your question.
No, you're good. I was just like asking what kind of music or bands that you're into right now.
Indie. No, I'm gonna actually answer your question. So, honestly, more recently, and I don't know why, and your guys' band kind of falls into this in a weird way, but like old 2006 Christian rock for some reason. That's what I've been vibing. Okay. I know. It's like, and I'm gonna honestly, I'm gonna rattle off a few because these are actually really good. Mainstay.
Okay.
Do you know who Mainstay is?
I know the name. Mm-hmm. I don't know the band.
Okay. All of these I'm gonna list are from like, I think Tooth and Nail Records too.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll probably be familiar with some of those.
I have only ever found one person that has ever listened to Mainstay. Mainstay is like my favorite band, and they have an album called Well-Meaning Fiction, where I've listened to it since about 2014, and that's the same album that I can go to every single year and be like, this is still good.
Wow.
Mainstay is a huge one. House of Heroes is another huge one for me.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Oh, yeah. And now my artists aren't loading. Thanks, Spotify. The one time that I'm relying on you. Thanks, dude. Really appreciate that. No, but Number One Gun. Yeah. That's a good one. I love that. And I also love Lael, which is the singer's solo project.
Oh my gosh. Number One Gun is from like 2004.
Dude, that's one of my top favorites. They're so good. They're so good. And it's like, I love having these artists that nobody knows, because then it's like sparks the conversation, being like, dude, these guys are good, you know?
Yeah.
Tally Hall, occasionally. They're pretty good. I think that's all I can think of right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, that's not a bad
good.
roundup.
Between the Trees is another good one.
Wow, this is so old school.
Yeah. And then Eleventyseven, because you guys released an album back then. I think it's in that time period.
Yeah, I think
But
like 2006 was our first one.
Mhm.
Yeah, what a time to be alive that was.
especially, what a time to be alive, because I remember when I started listening to your guys' songs, the most recent album out was Sugar Fist, and you guys were on a hiatus. So literally, I think like a year after I started listening, you guys came back together. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was like too perfect of a timing. Honestly, thank you, Discover Weekly Spotify playlist. I swear. It's like, if it wasn't for that playlist, I wouldn't know who you guys are, most likely.
Yes.
So it's like, Spotify's doing good, man.
Well, big shout out to Spotify for
real though.
for helping us out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. It seems so weird now because when I go on Spotify to like check on what's going on like on the back end with our band, I'll always go to like the related artists just out of interest. Like, well, I wonder what, and it's always like these same bands that I don't know why we're still like somehow associated with them. And there's some really cool ones, like Reliant K always pops up as like an associated artist or whatever that is. And I think they're hella rad. But some of them I'm just like, we don't sound anything like a lot of these bands, or these haven't even been bands for years. Like, why? How does this thing update?
That's true.
I have no idea. I
feel like with your band specifically, it has evolved like literally every single album, which I think, well, I mean, first of all, that's hard to do. And second of all, it's like, I don't know of another band that's really done that, honestly, that I can think of anyways, where just like whatever album they make, it's like just different every single time. And it's like,
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they're out there.
Well, yeah.
I think that maybe it has a little bit to do with a combination of like the ADD of what we do, but also just like not ever being interested in making the same record twice.
I get that, yeah.
Like,
that's true.
And people say that like it's a virtue, and I don't necessarily know that it is. Like it take a lot of creativity from a lot of different people normally goes into records, and ever since like Adventures in Evil, it's pretty much all just been me, either on a laptop or going to different studios or, making studios wherever I've been. There's that. But I always feel like there's this new thing that I'm trying to chase down, or this new sound that I think it's really cool. Yeah.
Is the next album going to be emo trap? Because that's kind of the one genre you haven't jumped into yet. It's just like this trap. You're getting there, but it's like, it's not there yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's sometimes where I'll listen to stuff that I find on the Spotify Discover playlist. Yeah. That it sends me, and I'm like, gosh, this stuff is so cool. Like Purity Ring sounds amazing. I love a lot of power pop stuff from the 90s and early 2000s. I think that's super cool. I can
tell, yeah.
But like, yeah, there are times where I think, oh my gosh, that's such a cool vibe for a track, and then I'll just kind of take that song that I heard and be like, well, what would this be like if I did it? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think on Basic Glitches, we kind of dived into a little bit of trap territory, but not necessarily trap songs, just kind of some trap production.
It was very electronic. I think it was the most electronic album that Eleventyseven has published. So you guys, it really reminded me of Jelly Rocks.
Yes.
I know. And I mean, I also really like Jelly Rocks. I mean, that probably shouldn't be a surprise, but.
Well, thank you very much for listening to it. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I don't know what like our next thing is going to be. Like, I think we're having a lot of fun with the synthesizers and the new live setup and kind of having a dance party sort of a thing. But
I mean, there's no rush or anything. I was just kind of pulling your chain,
Oh, yeah. For sure.
It's like, where else is he going to go, Because it's like, I'm not going to lie. I was kind of expecting more of the Rad Science vibe, which I think is fair. But it's like what we got was, I think, probably better. because I feel like this album was way more like structured in terms of like style, you know? Whereas Rad Science, it was kind of just like a bunch of different songs, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
A bunch of different styles in one album. Whereas this was like very electronic and very synth wavy, you know?
Yes. It was like, yeah, it was, I feel like Rad Science was kind of like a pop punk mother trying to get like in the middle of giving birth to a synthwave baby. and then Basic Glitches is just kind of like the synthwave baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like kind of missing some guitar stuff right now.
Yeah.
So,
ooh, that's exciting to hear.
I don't know.
Your guitar stuff is epic. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you're very sweet. I mean, I feel like it's just, you know, it's power chords and pop punk stuff. We're not rewriting the Bible or anything on pop punk for sure. But it is really fun because it's like that's the first instrument that I ever learned how to play. So like it feels really naturally when I pick up a guitar. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I can pull a song out of this like pretty easily. But I think that might just be what happens the more time that you spend with an instrument. So yeah, just like the feeling of it. Do you play anything?
No. I occasionally make music here and there for fun in like FL Studio, but like I don't play any instruments. I just use everything on the computer, and it's like just for fun, you know, because I'm not like a master mixer or musician or anything like that. But
you do not have to be a master to have fun, and that's
not what I was saying.
Kind of the whole point of it. Yeah,
I don't know. It's just what I've learned, especially recently, that like music for me is it's very therapeutic for me because it's a way for me to vent, but do it creatively in a way that's actually constructive.
Yeah.
You know? But I feel like that's important. So I've been doing some of that recently.
So are there other things that you like to do that you feel like kind of allow you to express your creativity a little more freely or openly?
I mean, besides my YouTube channel, that's really been like my main focus, in all honesty.
Yeah.
That is if I ever get the chance with all these clients being like, hey, I want video.
Right.
So,
right.
But I'm not going to lie though. Like I do love my job for a lot of reasons. One, it's like, yeah, it's my passion as a business, crazy. But it's like, it's almost like every single day is different in a weird way. And I like that. I like how it can be a little diverse here and there instead of being like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
A weird way, because I feel like diversity in like any job helps for sure.
Yeah, I love that, and I feel like everything's only changing more quickly. So I have to remind myself of that. Like, just go ahead and get used to there always being like an update. Get used to there always being like a new way that things are going to get done, and a new way of like recording or instrumentation or like. Yeah. Sourcing samples, like there's always going to be that. And yeah, I think I'm learning to embrace it a little bit more than like be freaked out by the speed at which it's all changing.
Yeah.
And just sort of find my lane and stay in my lane as long as I can.
Yeah. Technology is changing like rapidly fast. It seems like every single year we get so many improvements, and it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bonkers to keep up with. But for somebody who doesn't sleep often, I'm sure you're doing it quite well.
Wow. I mean, I just wish, and I'm probably a freak for saying this, but if I could like not sleep and not eat, I feel like I'd be the happiest person alive, because then I could just be doing some stuff all the time, you know? That's my feeling specifically.
Right.
Then again, garlic bread, that's tough to give up, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're super into garlic
Actually,
bread.
I'd probably just give up sleep if I could and actually still be healthy, but that's not possible.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, it's really cool to see you doing your thing and making a living at a very young age, doing with such a fast-paced field to be in. I'm very proud of you, Ethan. This is very, very cool.
Aw, thank you.
And I'm going to take your advice and try to drink more water than coffee and be a little bit better to my body in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's awesome. Well, we've gone the time. Did you have any other thoughts?
I was literally just going to say, it's like, if I would have known 3 years from now, I'd be talking to you. It's like, whoa, what would I ask? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any questions, because it's like, I feel like, I mean, I've listened to your stuff for years, so I feel like in a weird way, I kind of already know you, even though, I don't. But like, it's that weird relationship, of like any content creator. Like, you watch somebody for years, like, who they are, but they don't know necessarily who you are,
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I appreciate what you do, and I think that what you're doing is good and it's valuable for sure. And I hope you keep doing it, because it's really fun to listen to your songs, and I'm sure it's fun for you to make. So I don't know. I'm also proud of you, because it's like what you do is hard. I'm not gonna lie. Music in general, good music, is like hard to make for sure.
Aw, Ethan, you're a sweetheart.
Yeah. And I also just see you doing everything, and I respect that, because it's like, that's not easy to do either. So
Yeah, it's what comes from years of being a control freak, I guess. So,
I sometimes feel that, yeah.
yeah. You're right. It is kind of weird. Like because I really enjoy meeting people that listen to the podcast or are into our band, but I don't like, or I shouldn't say I don't like it. I'm always kind of wary to meet people that I really look up to or respect in real life. Like, if I'm super into somebody's podcast or their band, I don't want to be disappointed, because in my mind, I have such high expectations for them. I've only heard like the best parts of them that they're putting forward.
That's fair, yeah.
In their content. And so I'm always like, gosh, I would rather just kind of have this image of you in my mind than I would meet you and have you be a total dick.
Yeah.
So, but that's not true for everybody. Like, I should be I should be more open to things like that.
I mean, that's up to your discretion, honestly. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. For me specifically, it's like, I've realized recently that I'm never like starstruck. Yeah. In all honesty, like, it's cool if somebody notices me, whatever. But it's like, I feel like some people would be like freaking out if they were talking to you right now. But like, I'm just chill. I think it's really cool that we're talking right now, because it's like, I do appreciate you both, like, creatively and like as a human. So it's like, it's just really cool to be able to relate to somebody that like you've looked up to for years, that whole thing.
Wow. That blesses my heart, Ethan. You're a good soul, my friend.
I try, and it's hard, but it's the right thing to do.
Well, you're doing it. And we can just pour a little bit more sleep in that routine. It's going to be that much better.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Ethan, I've had such a fun time with you. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your evening with me. And
no problem.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to everybody being able to hear our conversation, because I think you're a pretty cool guy.
I think you're pretty cool too.
Awesome. Yeah, send me the next thing that you edit. I'd love to see what you do.
Aw, all right. I'll remember that for sure.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah.
Well, you take it easy, okay?
All right, you too.
All right, see you, bud.
Bye.
Eleventy Life is a production of Rock Candy Recordings